Part 35. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 341. The Zanpakuto of the female death god, like thousands of cherry blossoms blooming, turned into countless blades like petals, flying and circling around her. Xiaoming was sure that there was a 61.8% chance that this female reincarnationist chose such an ability because this move was so beautiful. A beautiful girl, standing in the middle of countless pink petals falling like rain, stood gracefully, like a fairy. She was so beautiful that she was envied by others. Even Xiaoming couldn't help but give a thumbs up when he saw it. This pretending was perfect. These flying cherry blossom blades were extremely sharp, piercing the body of the cockroach man like tofu. In the falling cherry blossoms, the black strongmen within a few feet of the female death god were killed one after another. Unfortunately, this move was not suitable for the cockroach man. As we all know, cockroaches have very strong vitality. The piercing damage caused by this small blade would be almost harmless to the cockroach man if it didn't just pass through the vital part. Therefore, the energy consumed by the female death god to kill a level 2 cockroach man is enough to kill 3 or 4 level 3 reincarnations. But if this kind of ranged damage is not used, being surrounded by black warriors will make you die faster and more miserably. The death god is not good at physical fitness, and close combat is very disadvantageous. In view of the thousands of black warrior corpses on the ground, Xiaoming estimated that this lady has been fighting for a long time. Relying on the help of the invisible uniform, Xiaoming boldly approached the battlefield to observe. Inadvertently caught a glimpse of the face of the female death god. It was a veritable glimpse. The beauty of this reincarnation is still a small matter. There are not too many ways to change appearance in the reincarnation space. It is almost an iron rule that there are no ugly women among high-level reincarnations. What really touched Xiaoming's heart was that the face of this female death god was 6 or 7 points like the third sister Zhao Linger. It just lacked a little bit of the fairy-like temperament. If nothing else, just because of her similarity with Linger, Xiaoming could not sit idly by. If it were a male reincarnation, the possibility of Xiaoming meddling in other people's business would be 50-50. The Zanpakuto in the world of the god of death is different from other power systems. Not all reincarnations who become the god of death can get their own Zanpakuto. Because according to the setting of the original work, all Zanpakuto were made by the god of swords Neme-Yawu of the Zero Division alone. In other words, Zanpakuto is not only a manifestation of the god of death's own ability, but also requires a reward from above. The reincarnations who become the god of death cannot make a Zanpakuto that belongs to them unless they can make it themselves. What if there is none? Of course, they bought it from the profiteer of the reincarnation space. From the primary version to the advanced version, everything is available. The female god of death, the reincarnation's Inshui, she is not a fan of Byakuya Kukiki, she is just a fan of Senbonzakura. Because this Zanpakuto is so beautiful after it is released. Although Kukiki Byakuya's looks are also worthy of this sword, Xin Shui thinks that the most suitable owner of Senbonzakura should be a beautiful girl like herself. With her extraordinary strength and appearance, Xin Shui has done quite well in the reincarnation space, and this Senbonzakura has been strengthened to about 80% of the original version. Even in the reincarnation space, this is a world that depends on appearance. Xin Shui relied on her cute face to get through many crises. But this time, face recognition may not work. This bunch of tasteless cockroaches. They don't know how to appreciate beauty at all. If she dies this time, she doesn't plan to revive again. It's okay if they don't know how to appreciate themselves, but the key is that this group of black warriors are so ugly that they are too ugly to let the audience down. When she used Senbonzakura to chop them, Xin Shui felt sorry for her knife. She seemed to be able to hear Senbonzakura crying. Pure illusion. While she was struggling with how to die gracefully, countless corpses of black warriors stood up again. This scared Xian Shui a lot. Can cockroach people fake their death? When she was terrified, she saw that these resurrected cockroach people did not attack her, but attacked her fellow countrymen around her. Could it be that the beauty of this beautiful girl finally worked? Trust me and you will have eternal life. Can the god of death have this ability? There should be a limit to being conceited. Of course, Xian Shui knew that this was impossible, and she was just daydreaming out of habit. With the appearance of hundreds of undead cockroach people, the enemies around Xian Shui were quickly wiped out. The undead formed a formation to block the black strongmen on the periphery. The female god of death finally had time to rest and eat some supplies to restore blood and mana. By the way, she also carefully observed these newly appeared undead cockroach people. In the reincarnation space, the reincarnationists who can never exceed sea level in their lifetime are the real mainstream. E level and D level are not thresholds. Most of the reincarnationists can reach sea level as long as they are not too unlucky. It's just a matter of time. But from B level upwards, talent, hard work, and luck are indispensable for each level. People like Xiaoming or Xiang Mo who cheat don't count. As a B-level reincarnationist, Xian Shui has been struggling in the reincarnation space for more than 10 years. She has seen most of the power systems. Besides, she is the god of death. Although she uses spiritual power and spiritual pressure. But she is not unfamiliar with the breath of death. In fact, for her, the breath of death is still a great tonic. The cockroach people who stood up again around her could not hide from her eyes. They were clearly a group of undead. And this army of undead is divided into 3 different types of undead. The vast majority are actually level 3 cockroach zombies, a few level 2 cockroach skeleton soldiers, and a few sporadic level 4 cockroach black warriors. The cockroaches of Mars, as a race that is too young, have not developed their own qualities enough. After being transformed into undead soldiers, their strength has become even stronger. Due to the blessing of death breath and magic power, cockroach zombies have more blood and stronger attacks than when they were alive, and even the original vital points on their bodies have disappeared. Naturally, their combat effectiveness has increased greatly. The cockroach black warriors are even more awesome. Because they are transformed from the corpses of stronger cockroaches. In the past, the cockroach corpses were harvested by Xiaoming after part of their energy was absorbed. Naturally, they can only become skeleton soldiers due to insufficient nutrition. In this situation, Xiaoming has no time to let the insect humans out for dinner, so he can only harvest complete corpses on the spot. Therefore, zombies and black warriors appeared. These new undead soldiers are interesting. Xiaoming quietly summoned a few witches to subdue the beasts and sent them to the barracks to study cockroach zombies and cockroach black warriors. On the battlefield, the army of the undead cockroaches was formed, and the 2nd to 3rd level black warriors on the periphery could not break through at all, and instead became corpses. New corpses would be harvested by Xiaoming again, and they would stand up again as undead soldiers. The army of undead cockroaches would become more and more numerous. This is the advantage of undead magic. As long as enough power is gathered in the early stage, the development in the later stage will be like a snowball, unstoppable. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 342. Using Death Harvest to rescue the reincarnators on the surface of Mars has become Xiaoming's daily task. He does it 2 or 3 times a day on average. This is because most of the reincarnators have begun to stick together, and the probability of being besieged by cockroaches has been greatly reduced. The reincarnators on Mars are at least sea level. Unless they are attacked by surprise, basically every reincarnator will cause considerable losses to the black powers. Naturally, there are many corpses available. Whenever Xiaoming encounters one, he usually sends a death harvest. He creates a group of undead cockroaches to rescue the reincarnators. Because sea-level reincarnators have high and low levels, and their fighting methods are also diverse. So the number of corpses they can provide is not the same. The more corpses Xiao Ming has, the more undead soldiers he can harvest, and he can buy more time. In this case, as long as the reincarnators can seize the opportunity and quickly regroup, then even if they can't win, they can escape with the help of the undead. Those who create fewer corpses are not easy to deal with. The summoned undead can only prolong their fighting time. In order to prevent their defeat, Xiao Ming must send out a large army, but this will inevitably expose Xiao Ming's strength. At this time, whether to help or not depends entirely on Xiao Ming's mood. Due to the strength of the Insect King and Zhangzhong, Xiao Ming's worry about exposing his strength is actually much less than before. Now the main factor affecting whether Xiao Ming sends troops is the life energy of the reincarnation. For those reincarnations whose life energy is not good, Xiao Ming is generally too lazy to send troops to rescue. And for those who are particularly ugly, he even saves the death harvest. Let them fend for themselves. Among the reincarnations, there are many people who are eager for quick success, those who turn their faces and are ruthless, those who cheat, deceive, and are treacherous and cunning. There are not many people who are really worth Xiao Ming's efforts to save. Most of the reincarnations rescued by Xiao Ming are in a hurry to run away, and some of them casually take out some thank you gifts and throw them to Xiao Ming's undead. Even if he hurriedly gives gifts, Xiao Ming still gets most of the ordinary consumables. There are almost no useful ones. This is understandable. With Xiao Ming's current strength, anything that he considers useful is probably a good thing. Of course, the reincarnationists are reluctant to give it up. Anyway, it's just a piece of cake. Xiao Ming doesn't care whether there is a thank you gift or not. Every time he helps a person with good life energy to survive, it is a happy thing. Just like this time, helping this female death god. Her life energy is quite good among the reincarnationists. For a long time, the B-level reincarnation female death god Xin Shui, with her powerful strength, has eliminated many black strongs every day. She is regarded as a thorn in the side by the cockroaches. So this time, the Black Strongs mobilized thousands of heavy troops to encircle her. This force is more than enough to deal with any plot character in any class. It is enough to deal with Xin Shui. Because Xiao Ming is too mobile, although he kills a lot, the cockroaches can't find his trace, and they don't even know that these compatriots died at the hands of the same person. Instead, they will not target him, but only those who can be found, that is, Xin Shui. More than a quarter of the troops were killed in this battle, and it seemed that they could defeat the female death god with a little more effort. Xiao Ming, a Chenyajin, showed up halfway. A death harvester completely reversed the situation. Xiao Ming did not face other reincarnations directly, and it was Xiao Hong who took action. Attracted by the beauty at this moment, Xiao Ming took the initiative to appear. In order to show his character, Xiao Ming used alchemy to build a beautiful small pavilion. He prepared fine wine and delicious food, waiting for the beauty to come to the table. Xiao Hong led hundreds of ghosts, and the ghost general led the undead, forming a large army and forming a sharp arrow formation to attack. Xiao Ming sat in the building with the female death god, eating and chatting. Amidst the laughter, they admired the destruction of this powerful black army. Xin Shui was very satisfied with this wave of pretending to be cool. It's fun to pretend to be cool for a while, and it's fun to pretend all the time. At least 30% of the reincarnations believe in this motto. In fact, this mentality is completely understandable. It is very difficult for intermediate reincarnations to upgrade, but they will not die if they are stuck at this level. They can only pretend to be cool when they are bored, otherwise they have nothing else to do. Maybe they will upgrade by pretending. It is not without precedence, and this Xin Shui is one of them. She actually doesn't care about Xiao Ming saving her once. But it's so exciting to take her to pretend to be cool. It feels like life has reached its peak. Her favorability towards Xiaoming has directly reached closeness. After all, women's money is the easiest to make. Xi and Shui not only carefully taught Xiaoming a lot of knowledge about the god of death. She also used an A-level multiple shadow clone scroll to exchange a hacker energy submachine gun and 3 energy blocks with Xiaoming. The value of an A-level ninjutsu scroll is far greater than the value of an energy gun and energy block. It's just that these things are very niche products. Ordinary B-level shadow clone scrolls are very popular goods. Most reincarnations who take the ninja route have a demand for them. It is not difficult to control 1 or 2 shadow clones. But its advanced version, A-level multiple shadow clones, has not sold much. Mainly because there are not many people who can learn A-level ninjutsu. Multiple shadow clones is not a skill that ordinary humans can master. If it is not handled properly, the backlash to itself can destroy the reincarnation. So this scroll is a slow-selling product in the space. Note that the B-level and A-level ninjutsu scrolls mentioned here are the settings of the Naruto world. The evaluation in the reincarnation space will be reduced by 1 to 2 levels. Ordinary gunpowder-type munitions are common consumables in space. As long as you are a reincarnation person, you basically have a few things to be prepared for any trouble. However, weapons that use pure energy blocks have an awkward position in space. On the one hand, it is indeed very powerful and has its own demon-breaking effect. Everyone loved it. But on the other hand, pure energy blocks are just too hard to get. It must be obtained in the world of high technology. The reincarnators themselves simply cannot be mass-produced. Because the production of pure energy blocks is destined to use a specific product from a certain world, and the amount of this thing is absolutely very rare. This results in energy blocks having a price but no market. If anyone gets an energy weapon, it will be like a piece of chicken ribs, tasteless to eat and a pity to throw away. It's almost like a disposable prop. Therefore, in the exchange of multiple shadow clone techniques and energy weapons, it is impossible to say who took advantage of whom. Just take what you need. After this battle, the female god of death Zinshui realized her own shortcomings. She is most afraid of being attacked by low-level troops who are not afraid of death. Having an energy gun can save a lot of her own energy, which is an effective supplement to her fighting style. When your spiritual power is insufficient, you can shoot and recover at the same time. As a B-level reincarnator, she could occasionally get 1 or 2 energy blocks. It's not like she needs to use it very often, so these 3 pieces can last a long time. Zinshui felt that she was the one who took advantage of this transaction. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 343. The one who really got the most out of it is undoubtedly our classmate Zhang Xiaoming. The energy guns and energy blocks he gave out are things that he can mass produce at will, and he will not lose money even if he sells them at a bargain price. The multiple shadow clone scroll is useless to other reincarnationists because the conditions for use are too high. For Xiaoming, it is simply a magical skill. The danger of this ninjutsu is that after the multiple shadow clones disappear, all the experience and fatigue will accumulate on the caster himself. Because the number of shadow clones is very large, most reincarnationists will be physically disabled when so much fatigue is superimposed. The accumulation of experience is even more terrible, and human mental power cannot bear it at all. Even magic-based reincarnationists have mental breakdowns. In the original work, only a few people such as the protagonist who cheats can bear this kind of damage. But when it comes to cheating, Xiaoming asks himself that he is definitely no worse than anyone else. He immediately learned this ninjutsu. Mental fatigue is definitely not a problem with 2 level 6 mental powers. In terms of body, there is 1 level 3 and 1 level 4 body, which should be able to share fatigue. especially the body of the Insect King, which is a combination of the Zerg alien Chimera ant. The endurance of fatigue can exceed that of humans of the same level by several times. Such an interesting ninjutsu, of course, must be played. Xiaoming unceremoniously split hundreds of shadow clones, used transformation techniques to change into the appearance of cockroach people, and sent them out in all directions to explore intelligence. Normal shadow clones are exclusive to ninjutsu, and the clones only have some of the abilities of the original body in ninjutsu, illusion, and physical skills. The others are not good. Not to mention the skills of other energy systems, even the more advanced ninjutsu, the shadow clones sometimes can't handle it. However, Xiaoming's shadow clones are definitely not ordinary stuff. He has formed a network of all the supernatural energy systems in his body. Therefore, Xiaoming's shadow clones also have a few abilities of other systems. It is not a problem to use a little bit of telekinesis, magic, small universe, or a small alchemy. It's just that the energy of the shadow clone is very limited, and there is no source energy to replenish at any time. Therefore, it can only be regarded as an ordinary third-level soldier. It's about a Chunin. In terms of Xiaoming's combat experience, his shadow clone is probably the bottom among Chunins. The result is not unexpected. Most of the shadow clones did not last too long, and were found and killed by the cockroach people. Facts have proved that it is useless to transform into cockroach people. Shadow clones don't have their smell, let alone their chi-chi communication method. It's impossible to impersonate. Most of these dead shadow clones did not go out of the range of the scanning map, and some did not even go out of the circle. It can't play any reconnaissance role at all. After this experiment, Xiaoming found that it is not meaningful to release the shadow clones, and they are completely useless for reconnaissance. It seems that it is okay to use them to establish contact with other people. But for things like establishing contact, Xiaoming has now mastered a more effective way: mental communication. Shadow clones seem to be more suitable for practicing skills, or for cultivating immortals. The skill of mental communication was learned in the Magic Planet game. The ancient giant octopus at the bottom of the sea once taught Xiaoming the game character, Diver. However, Xiaoming's mental power was still low at that time, so it was a bit difficult to use, so he rarely used it. After being locked up in the demon locking tower for a few years, he really mastered the skill of mental communication. First of all, Xiaoming's mental power skyrocketed under the blessing of the Zerg's mental power ocean. This made the amount of mental power no longer an obstacle. It was normal for Zerg humans to communicate with each other with mental power. This was inherited from the Zerg. After frequent use in recent years, they have long been familiar with it. What the giant octopus taught Xiaoming was just the primitive version of Zerg human mental communication. Now when Xiaoming uses this skill, it is as simple as eating and drinking. Zerg people can naturally communicate with Xiaoming mentally anytime and anywhere, and the bond between them is very close. There is no need for this skill. If facing outsiders, mental communication will be useful. In the Demon Locking Tower, the Zerg King has done experiments in this regard. As long as the other party is within the range of his circle, Xiaoming can talk to him with his mental power. It doesn't matter if the other party can't communicate mentally. He can answer directly with words. Because he is in Xiaoming's circle, Xiaoming can still hear it. While Silver Xiaoming sent a large number of shadow clones to go out to gather intelligence. The Insect King in the Locking Demon Tower also created a large number of shadow clones. Arrange them to practice Xiaoming's various abilities. Each power system can be divided into about 5 to 10 shadow clones to practice. At the same time, some shadow clones were sent to do scientific research and production. Shadow clones can't do reconnaissance work on Mars, but inside the Locking Demon Tower, in this special environment, shadow clones can be of great use. As we all know, the Locking Demon Tower is a maze structure, and there are strong space barriers between layers. Green Xiaoming's circle and scanning map cannot do cross-layer reconnaissance. Then it's the turn of the shadow clones. These shadow clones with low-level Chunin strength are spread all over every layer of the locking demon tower like a net. No matter big or small, you can use the intercom to inform the insect human. If the matter is too urgent and can't be explained clearly at the moment, the shadow clone can also choose to die on the spot, so the information it carries will be quickly transmitted to Xiaoming's brain. Then the insect king will notify the insect humans to respond. All of a sudden, the intelligence system of the insect humans has undergone earth-shaking changes. From now on, the team sent by the insect humans will no longer worry about being ambushed by monsters. The two 6th level mental powers of the two Xiaomings are enough to deal with the endless intelligence and information. I have to say that the insect race's plug-in is really powerful. Xiao Xiao is even happier now. With 2 small horns, he commands Xiaoming's 7 or 8 shadow clones around. If you want to use alchemy to perform movies, dramas, you still need N years of training. Xiaoming's current level is still far from enough. However, it is very simple to use shadow clones to perform movies. They can use transformation techniques to transform into all the characters in the movie. As long as Xiaoming can still remember the plot, he can perform it for Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao is still too young. Those movies with real thoughts and depth cannot be shown to him at all. Xiao Xiao's favorites are children's cartoons such as Pleasant Goat and Big Big Wolf and Boony Bears. Or Tom and Jerry are also to his liking. Ever since Xiao Xiao watched the cartoons, Xiaoming has never been at peace. Xiao Xiao always rides on his neck and calls him, Big Dad, I want a goat, I want a wolf, I want a cat. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 344. In the Demon Locking Tower, Xiao Xiao is not the only one who likes to watch cartoons. It has not been long since Maomoer ate the human fruit, that is, he has just become a human, and his mental state is similar to that of a child. Although his knowledge reserve is very rich. The insect humans under Xiaoming were actually all born in the Demon Locking Tower, and all of them are less than 5 years old. Only number 1 Blood Wolf was born in the world of Underworld 1, which was actually born more than half a month earlier than the insect humans. He has also entered the Demon Locking Tower. Although these guys are very strong, their appreciation of film and television art is at the same level as Xiao Xiao. Even the monsters are the same. They have devoted their lives to cultivation and killing. How many artistic cells can they have? Under Xiaoming's rule, they suddenly entered a peaceful life, and the monsters are still a little uncomfortable. In addition to cultivation and work every day, many of them have developed some interest in art. In fact, there are 2 viewers that Xiaoming doesn't know, the Shushan Sword Saint outside the Demon Locking Tower and the Janai Mingwang inside the tower. The 2 of them can see what happens in the Demon Locking Tower by using magic. However, they are experienced and knowledgeable, unlike these guys who have never seen the world. They are watching the performance of these shadow clones with a critical eye. In the past, Xiaoming had guided some insect people to make movies and TV. There is no big problem technically. The mechanical octopus has equipment that can record, transmit, and play images. However, the quality of the things made by these insect people is not even as good as the cartoons for children. It is really unwatchable. Maomoer, Xiao Xiao, and the monsters don't like the movies and TV programs made by insect people. Even the insect people themselves look down on them. Xiaoming has never learned anything about movies and TV, so it is difficult for him to guide them. In fact, it is mainly troublesome. He can only watch them fooling around. Unexpectedly, today I got the multiple shadow clone technique. This is a god-level skill for acting stories to coax children. Is this ninjutsu supposed to be used this way? Be careful that the original author travels through time and comes to take care of you. In the insect nest community, the streets are empty, and everyone is gathered around Xiaoming's shadow clone to watch the cartoon. This is simply a scene of a tour of young handsome men. There are very few large spaces in the locking demon tower, and only a part of the subordinates can be seen each time. So Xiaoming had to send a large number of shadow clones to premiere simultaneously in various places in the locking demon tower. He was almost exhausted. The shadow clones gained super high popularity in the locking demon tower, which improved the cohesion and centripetal force of the entire insect, human and monster joint group. It even increased everyone's worship and belief in Xiaoming. Xiaoming's insect saint clothes are obviously stronger than before. After the news spread, some big monsters actually came with their subordinates to come here. Just to see Xiaoming has Pleasant Goat and Big Wolf under his command. This is something Xiaoming never expected. The process of unifying the locking demon tower was greatly accelerated because of this. This also greatly stimulated Xiaoming's enthusiasm for creation, plagiarism. The shadow clones in the locking demon tower enjoy star-like treatment. The shadow clones on Mars also have their own experiences. Although most of the first wave of shadow clones have been discovered and surrounded by cockroaches. But there are always a few that slip through the net. One of them just happened to meet Xi and Shui. The little trick of transforming into a cockroach can't fool a B-level master. Not long after the female death god and Xiaoming parted, she saw this shadow clone. She couldn't help but admire Xiaoming's ability to die. The shadow clone was walking, and suddenly the back of the Zanpakuto hit his shoulder, and he was startled. You know, whether it's round or scanning, the information obtained is summarized to Xiaoming's body, and the shadow clone can't see it. Otherwise, how could so many people be surrounded and killed? That's good, handsome guy. You learned this move so quickly. Remember, I told you all the shortcomings of this move, so be careful. Don't blame me if you die. Xi and Shui meant well. She never thought that the leader would have enough chakra to learn A-level ninjutsu and practice it so quickly. In addition to praise, it is inevitable to be a little worried. So I asked the shadow clone to remind him again. Don't worry, Alcoa. The original body knows everything. I'm the fourth one, I won't do anything rash. Okay, I won't blame you if I die. The shadow clone expressed his gratitude and made an invitation. Where is Alcoa going? Do you want to go with me? Xi and Shui thought for a while and said, okay. I don't know where to go on Mars. I'm just walking around. It's okay to go with me. By the way, do you still have the spiritual fruit from last time? The shadow clone was speechless. I still have the spiritual fruit, but I can't take it out. Do you think my clone has a pocket? Oh, yes, forget it. Xi and Shui also realized that she was daydreaming, and asked again, then will you build a house like your original body? Seeing the shadow clone nodded in agreement, she couldn't help but feel in a good mood. She had been sleeping in the open air, exposed to the sun and rain these days. The female death god felt that her skin needed maintenance. She really wanted to have a comfortable place to rest at night. Sometimes she envied those reincarnations who strengthened their physical bodies. For example, the Hulk, werewolves, monsters, transformers. They can sleep peacefully in most places. They are not afraid of wind, waves, sun, rain, etc. Even if there are foreign objects like bricks and tiles under their bodies, they will not feel uncomfortable. Even if they are covered with garbage, bruises and scars, they won't care. This is too unkempt. I am an invincible young girl who is always 18 years old. I am sure that I can't follow the route of those rough men. Absolutely not. So God has eyes and gave her a shadow clone who can build a house. Even though it belongs to someone else, it can still be used. Or it can be used as much as you want. Looking at Yin Xiaoming's shadow clone, busy inside and outside. Xi and Shui actually has a warm feeling of playing house. But it is more of a feeling of a small landlord or capitalist. This shadow clone is simply the most ideal tenant and employee. It is exploited without any pity. Do whatever you want, and you don't have to eat, drink, defecate, urinate, sleep, or pay. Not to mention 996, even 007 is fine. I must make a shadow clone to play with when I have time. She forgot that no matter what the shadow clone did, these tired and uncomfortable feelings would return to the original body. Although the original body would not have the kind of long-lasting boredom and fatigue during work. But when the shadow clone was released, these feelings would be concentrated and burst out on the original body at once. This is several times more uncomfortable than long-term fatigue. Therefore, no original body would overexploit the shadow clone, because that would be equivalent to overexploiting itself. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 345. Alcoa, you can't build a house on the ground, it's too eye-catching. Do you believe that other reincarnations will smash your house in a minute if they see it? Alcoa, I found a good place before, and I'll take you to see it. Don't worry, I won't lie to you. Alcoa, look how good this place is, there are mountains, water, and rivers. The underground passages below are very complicated. I'll open a few passages for you to go down. Hey, it's okay to drill a tunnel, the dust here is much smaller than on the surface. Yes, in the tunnel, you will definitely not be surrounded. Like this, you can move forward and backward freely, see. You can run away even if you can't beat them. If it really doesn't work, you can block the door here in your house. I have reinforced the rocks around, and the cockroaches can't dig holes to get in. They can only enter through this door. You are so petite, it's no problem to enter this door. Those big black strong men can't even squeeze in. With your ability, there is nothing wrong with staying here until the mission is over. If one comes, you kill one. If two come, you kill a pair. In the end, the corpses can completely block the bugs outside. Miss Xin, you are just looking at people through the cracks in the door. You look down on me. How can you only consider safety? Comfort is guaranteed inside. Xin Shui, look, a standard 2-bedroom and 1 living room. The living room has a sofa, not bad, right? The bedroom has a Simmons mattress, awesome, right? Come on, you still want to rent it out? You are alone, why do you need 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms? Feng Shui says that one person should not occupy too much space, it is not good. Okay, I am afraid of you. Can I build a big storage room for you? Salary, this bathroom is the best, with a toilet and a place to take a shower. Don't worry, it uses long flowing water from the ground. It is very clean. Salary, your nickname is also drunk. As for food, I can't do anything with my shadow clone. Do you want the original body to send someone to send you some? I am just a shadow clone, why are you hugging me, bang. Looking at the place where the handsome guy's shadow clone disappeared, the female death god felt mixed emotions. Are there still such shy people in modern society? His face turned red after a hug. I just kissed his cheek in gratitude, but who knew that his entire shadow clone exploded? Is he still a novice? When I was pretending to be cool with his original body, the atmosphere was not right, so I didn't chat freely. I didn't expect his shadow clone to be so easy to get along with, and the two of them became friends while chatting. The shadow clone's energy is just not as good as the original body, and its personality and other things are almost the same as the original body. In other words, the handsome guy actually has a bit of dog-licking attribute. He is so meticulous to me, and in order to make me live more safely and more comfortably, he did not hesitate to use up all his energy. Otherwise, why would he explode after being kissed? Appearance is justice. Only a young and invincible beautiful girl like me can make a stranger so willing to give. Don't believe it? Try a dark-faced guy, Maybe because the other party is a shadow clone, there is no threat, so I unconsciously let down my guard. In the end, I even told him my real name and nickname. But I still don't know his name. I only know that this guy has a nickname of Leader. Did I answer the last question? It seems that I nodded, but it seems that I didn't. I was so excited that I seemed to hug him directly. It's so embarrassing. Will he send food again? Will he send a shadow clone? Or will he come by himself? He doesn't think I like him, right? All men have this problem. This lady is just expressing gratitude. Don't let him think the wrong way. Humph, with this lady's face that is like a fairy descending from heaven, the people chasing this lady can line up from Nantianmen to Penglai East Road, and he is not enough. However, his ability is really useful. If he is sincere, why not give him a chance? Be friends for a few days? Although there will be no result after all, it can also leave him with a good memory. It won't be a regret for life. I am such a kind person, it seems not good to let others regret for a lifetime. In fact, he is very capable and has great potential. If he works hard and is guided by me, it is hard to say what will happen in the future. For a moment, the little girl was in a state of confusion and had a lot of thoughts. This is just to expand her thinking and make up her mind. The gratitude in the first half is true, but the second half is just random thinking. It is limited to random thoughts. In this regard, boys and girls are the same. Occasionally daydreaming is good for physical and mental health. In fact, as a high-level reincarnation, everyone has an inventory. People like Xi and Shui who pay attention to the quality of life, of course, carry various supplies such as tents, water, bedding, etc. It's just that on the first day, she didn't know that the environment on Mars was so bad. When she rested that night, she was attacked by the Black Strong. Although she was fine, she easily wiped out the attacking cockroach people. But all these belongings were destroyed. Fortunately, most of the food and clean water were in the inventory and were not wasted. After all, we don't need to take out all the food. But there are no spare tents. This makes Xi and Shui, who considers herself a beautiful girl, feel embarrassed. After several days, she can't stand it anymore. Sometimes she just wants to die. However, it's not often that you can encounter the 12 Kings summons. This is the first time that I have been summoned because I meet the conditions. I heard that the reward is quite good, and the female death god is also very entangled. When she was surrounded by thousands of cockroaches before, she thought that this was the end. She thought it was fine, no need to worry about it. Who knew that someone would fall from the sky, old someone's family's little someone? Not only did she save the consumption of a rebirth, but she also solved the trouble of quality of life. The impact on the girl's heart can be imagined. Otherwise, she would not have impulsively embraced someone else's shadow clone. In the reincarnation world, sleeping in the open air is the norm for low-level reincarnations. Tents and supplies are standard for high-level reincarnations. Like the leader, who can carry a high-end apartment or even a presidential suite with him, even the top reincarnations may not be able to be so luxurious all the time, right? From the perspective of blind dating, this is definitely a diamond bachelor among reincarnations. The female death god didn't know that Xiao Ming's shadow clone took good care of her because she looked 60% to 70% like Zhao Linger. During the time when their junior sister Linger lived in the demon locking tower and raised her child, Lu Xiaoming, as the landlord, of course had to take good care of her. After a few years, this has become an instinct. That's why his shadow clone made so many arrangements for Xi and Shui. Compared with Linger, the little things he did for Xi and Shui were nothing at all. The shadow clone didn't expect that he would be hugged and kissed by Xi and Shui in the end. In a trance, the shadow clone, whose energy had run out, couldn't hold on and exploded on the spot. In fact, the shadow clone without energy has no explosive power at all. It would be more accurate to say that it dissipated. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 346. Xiaoming's close combat ability is very average, mainly because of his lack of experience. He rarely encounters the situation where he needs to fight in close combat. During the battle, he still saw the white-eyed reincarnationist, who used the seemingly correct Bagua palm. Xiaoming's shadow clone then remembered, oh. He also knows Kung Fu. There are not too many cockroach people around, so he should focus on attacking. So the shadow clone used the extremely explosive Bajiquan. It is mainly because the black warriors are too ugly, and Xiaoming has no psychological burden to be ruthless to them. In addition, he has a very good understanding of the body structure of cockroach people. Cut inch by inch, hit hard and open hard. The places attacked are the vital points of cockroach people, and one hit will kill them. He killed 4 or 5 in succession. But the problem of lack of experience also appeared. He didn't take care of the side, and a stone flew over at a very high speed, and it seemed that the shadow clone was about to finish. The white-eyed reincarnationist reacted very quickly, and used Bagua palm return to the sky to bounce the stone away. Then he quickly took out a rocket launcher and fired a shot in the direction where the stone came from. In this world, individual firearms have a general effect on cockroaches, but the individual firearms of the reincarnationists are not the same. They are all added with ingredients. Looking at the violent explosion, the shadow clone knows that none of the black strongmen over there will survive. The reincarnation with the Sherry Non here also used a special move. At the same time, several sleeve arrows and shuriken were shot in all directions. Swoosh, 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 puff, puff, puff. After a flash of silver light, all the cockroaches present had received their lunch boxes. On the surface, it seemed that nothing was wrong, but the shadow clone could feel that this move consumed a lot of chakra of the reincarnationist. He is a little exhausted now. This scene happened not because Xiaoming went to rescue others, but because others came to help Xiaoming's shadow clone. This shadow clone was unfortunately besieged by hundreds of cockroaches. With his ordinary D-level strength, he was probably going to die. Since he was surrounded, the shadow clone also cancelled the transformation. Not to mention the waste of chakra, Heiqiang's physical condition was different and it was not suitable for him to perform. Unexpectedly, the 2 ninjas I had seen before happened to pass by nearby. They felt the fluctuation of chakra in the air, so they came to check. Seeing that someone was surrounded and there were not many cockroaches around, the 2 of them took the initiative to rush up to help. After fighting for a while, they found that the person who was surrounded was not a reincarnation, but just a shadow clone. What's there to save a shadow clone? This oolong is a bit nonsense. But no matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat, so just treat it as an extra reward for yourself. Besides, since he has taken action, of course he must be consistent. The memory of the shadow clone will be transmitted back to his original body. If people see that the 2 of them came and then gave up halfway and ran away, what will happen? So continue to fight. The 2 of them originally wanted to analyze the abilities of the original reincarnation through the fighting style of the shadow clone to see if it was worth pulling him into their big family. After a closer look, they found that this guy seemed to be a master of physical skills, and this set of Bajiquan was very powerful. There is no such inheritance in the Naruto world. I don't know if his original body is a ninja who knows martial arts or a warrior who knows ninjutsu. To Xiaoming, I am a loser otaku with 2 souls, 2 bodies, 2 sources of energy, spiritual power, telekinesis, mental power, force, magic, chakra, Taoism, demon magic, and microcosm, the god of insects, the master of the insect race, the VIP of the reincarnation space, a member of the League of Legends, the king of the demon locking tower, the owner of Guangmingding and Kunlun, Lu Xiaojing's brother, mediocre in appearance, over the age limit, unable to do anything, never satisfied with everything, ambitious but not perseverant, with a thief's heart but no courage, Zhang Xiaoming. It's better not to say such a shameful comment out loud. The ninja duo saw that the shadow clone had been fighting for so long, but he didn't use any ninjutsu. It was probably a warrior who knew ninjutsu. Since there was no way out, there was no need to continue to consume his chakra. That's why the Sherry non-samsara user didn't hesitate to consume chakra and killed all the cockroaches around in one fell swoop. It was over. Seeing that the crisis was resolved, the shadow clone took the initiative to step forward and greeted, "Thank you two brothers for your help, otherwise I would definitely be gone this time." The Sherry non-samsara waved his hands repeatedly, "Don't be polite. Everyone helps each other. By the way, my name is Uchiha Seigo." He pointed to the Byakugan samsara next to him, "My buddy is Hyaganingo. You can tell from the name that we are both ninjas in Naruto. Where is your original body? Where did you go?" Brother is still a straightforward person. "To be honest, I don't know where the original body is now. I just came out for a long time. By the way, his nickname is the Leader." The shadow clone replied with a smile and made a joke. "Leader," Uchiha Seigo repeated in a muttered voice, as if he had never heard of this nickname before. So he shook his head and said to the shadow clone, "It's getting late, I won't waste words. It seems that your original body can also do ninjutsu. I have some extra items here. Are you interested?" "Oh. This big brother is really good. He even has surplus stuff for his profession. The things they sell are likely to be used by the original body." The shadow clone nodded and agreed, "Okay, that's great. Wait a minute, no, my original body will be here in a while." After saying that, he cancelled the existence of the shadow clone. This happened before the female death god Xian Shui exploded another shadow clone. So Yin Xiaoming was actually on his way to meet the ninja duo. Xiaoming felt that Xian Shui must have some supplies for a few days. Otherwise, she would have bought them from him. There should be no rush there. So he chose to meet the ninja duo first, and then meet the Valkyrie when he had time. In fact, he was a little scared in his heart. Now he didn't dare to meet Xian Shui. Alas, he was destined to be alone. A few hours later, it was completely dark. Hyaganing Guo, Uchiha Sao, and Xiaoming had all drunk a lot. Before coming, I didn't expect this situation. I didn't do business first, nor did I exchange information. Instead, I sat down and started drinking and eating barbecue. The ninja duo found a few big rocks nearby and built a temporary hut using earth escape mixed with stones. Whether it was decorations or furniture, they were very rough. It was a bit like the house that the diver had built on the seabed earlier. It was a compliment to say that it was a rough house. After Xiaoming came to the door, he was dragged to drink and eat skewers before he even talked about business. The smell of the skewers, one bite, and you know it's a cockroach man. These two have really strong tastes. Xiaoming doesn't dare to eat this, but fortunately there are plenty of food prepared. Just take it out and eat it. You can suck it with the straw in the tail, but you can't eat it with your mouth. Xiaoming is also a double standard guy. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 347. Xiaoming didn't drink alcohol originally. He had no tolerance for alcohol before and was the type who would get drunk after one glass. And he didn't like the taste of alcohol, and didn't like the feeling of drinking until his mind was not clear. But now he is not afraid. Now Silver Xiaoming has a physical fitness of the 3rd level intermediate. Ordinary alcohol can't harm his body and mind at all. Since these two are in high spirits, let's drink with them. When they are drunk, maybe they can give me a discount. Sure enough, after these two got drunk, they patted Xiaoming on the shoulder and called him brother. Then they wanted to give him something for free. How could Xiaoming accept this? Giving a discount is friendship, but giving something for free is taking advantage of others. Giving something for free when drunk is taking advantage of others after drinking. They are not beautiful women, and taking advantage of them after drinking is not good or bad. Let's not talk about whether they are good or bad. Xiaoming is not short of money, so why should he be greedy for such a small advantage? Through life energy, Xiaoming also noticed it. That Uchiha Seigo was really drunk, and he was sincere when he said he wanted to give away things for free. That Hyuga Ningo was not so drunk. He really cared about his companions, and it would be terrible if both of them were drunk. So he remained somewhat sober, and at the same time observed Xiaoming. To see if Xiaoming was a person who was greedy for small gains. After several transactions, Xiaoming also had some understanding of the trading rules between formal reincarnations. In the reincarnation space, the transactions of general reincarnations should be conducted through the auction platform provided by the space. The auction platform is relatively fair, and there are strict restrictions on the reserve price and the maximum price of an item for auction. It is between 30% and 4 times the price of the item in the space. At the same time, the value and number of auction items that can be sold and bought by reincarnations of different levels after each mission are also limited. So how are transactions in the reincarnation world realized? This involves another set of rules in the reincarnation space, gifts. So the transaction between reincarnations is essentially that you give me something, and I give you something. Similarly, for different levels of reincarnations, in different worlds, there are also limits on the number of gifts and the total value of the items sent. Most importantly, when sending things, reincarnations have to pay extra to the space. This fee can be a shopping voucher, a score, or an advance payment for the evaluation of this task. Therefore, transactions between reincarnations must be very cautious. Of course, these conditions are not restricted to Xiaoming, the VIP. Some people may wonder that many of the reincarnations that Xiaoming helped before gave Xiaoming a thank you gift. Isn't this a loss? Of course not. Most of what they gave to Xiaoming were consumables and supplies. These things are very cheap, and there are not many restrictions on giving them. Sprinkle some water. What really cost a lot of money was the A-level ninjutsu scroll that Xin Shui gave to Xiaoming. But as a B-level reincarnation, Xin Shui is not short of money. Good brother, hiccup, brother tells you, this is a good thing, hiccup. Uchiha Zuao took out a box made of ice, and inside it was an eye. Do you know what this is? It's called, hiccup, Sherinon, or a Sherinon with 3 megatama. Do you know what level it is? C level. You just need to put this eye on yourself. As he said this, he slapped Xiaoming's shoulder twice and shouted loudly. You will immediately become a C-level ninjutsu master, you are so stupid. Come, accept it, my gift. If you don't accept it, it means you look down on me. In the world of Naruto, Xiaoming has only experienced the secret realm in the Magic Planet game, and the progress has not yet advanced to the appearance of the protagonist. So he really doesn't know much about the world of Naruto. He has only heard of a few terms, and he doesn't know most of the common sense. Xiaoming has heard of Sherinon, and he thought it was a very strange red eye disease at first. But I have never heard of the term 3 megatama. Observe this eye carefully, and then look at Uchiha Seigo's eyes. Xiaoming also guessed that this refers to the pattern around the pupil of the eye. But this statement is also quite strange, and this eye with special beauty contact lenses is even stranger. However, now does not seem to be a suitable occasion for the other party to explain properly. Besides, he is so drunk that he can't explain clearly, right? Xiaoming still feels good about this eye. It is hard to refuse such a kind offer, so let's accept it. But we can't accept it for nothing, we have to exchange it with something similar. Xiaoming actually has a lot of things stored in Guangmingding, but he is willing to take them out for exchange, and they are suitable for exchange. They are still hacker energy weapons and energy blocks. This time Xiaoming gave a hacker energy sniper rifle, looked at the changes in Hyagoning Guiu's life energy, and gave him an energy block. Uchiha Sao was not polite. After accepting it, he continued to burp and talk nonsense with Xiaoming, and Hyagoning Guiu also interrupted from time to time. They kept talking until the ninja duo fell asleep in a daze, and then they stopped. In fact, at this time, there was a basic situation that Xiaoming didn't understand. That is, the items he gave out were actually not certified by the space. It is equivalent to things in the reincarnation world. Whether it is Zinshui or the ninja duo, after the mission is over, if they want to take the energy gun and energy block out, they will need to pay extra to the space. Of course, compared with the value of energy weapons, it is worth paying a little extra. Besides, because of this, they can also get an important message. The energy guns and energy blocks were produced by the leader himself and were not obtained during missions. Then Xiaoming's market must be bullish in their minds. Anyone who can make energy blocks will definitely not be an ordinary reincarnation person. Although Xiaoming's energy weapons have pitfalls, the ninja's Sharinan also has pitfalls. Everyone is half-hearted. This Sharinan didn't come from the right way, it was brought out of the Naruto world using special props. It means that this Sharinan has not been certified by space. Things like the Sharinan can only be used directly by reincarnators if they have been certified by space, turning one of their eyes into the corresponding Sharinan. Although the physique of the reincarnation is still not that of the Uchiha clan, using the Sharinan will be burdensome, but it can also be repaired with the corresponding props. But the smuggled Sharinan is not so easy to use. First, the reincarnated person must find someone who can perform this kind of surgery to help him install his eyes. Secondly, the damage caused by Sharinan to the body. It is difficult for reincarnators to obtain suitable props to repair. More importantly, this eye is not recognized by the space, so it cannot be used as a basis for further upgrades. Future development will all depend on the efforts of the reincarnators themselves. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 348. Not drunk at the table, and not needing to rest, Yin Xiaoming went outside to digest his food. He also kept watch. He used alchemy to make a sofa, half lying on it, and took out the Sharinan to look at it carefully. After drinking the wine just now, Xiaoming also got a lot of information from the ninja duo's nonsense. The duo's exploration in the world of Naruto is not particularly in-depth, and they don't know the glory of the Sharinan in the future. Otherwise, the selling price will definitely be higher. Xiaoming silently activated his superpowers and wanted to use source energy to strengthen the Sharinan. Of course, he couldn't do it. Xiaoming's source energy can strengthen items, can be converted into various energies, and can even create things directly. But it can't strengthen living organisms and can't act on living organs. And this Sharinan happens to be a living organ. Maybe some friends want to see Xiaoming strengthen the Sharinan twice and become the eternal Mangekyo Sharinan. The author also wants to, but it's a pity that it doesn't conform to the setting of this book. Of course, the inability to strengthen living bodies is only the level that Xiaoming has reached temporarily. In the future, he will continue to go deeper, understand source energy, and use source energy. Unable to strengthen, and not knowing the future glory of the Sharinan, Xiaoming did not pay much attention to this eye. He sent it to Green Xiaoming through Kunlun and absorbed it directly. Is this considered a waste? Probably. Perhaps not. The supervision of the three Magatama Sharinan is not very helpful to Xiaoming. Xiaoming's strongest ability is reconnaissance, and he does not need the Sharinan in this aspect. On the contrary, after absorbing it, the genes of the Uchiha family will definitely be of some reference to the Zerg. When in the Naruto Secret Realm, Xiaoming combined the ninjutsu clone technique and the uniform temptation ability to create a special ninjutsu nurse clone. And because of this, he won the appreciation of the entire Konoha village's senior management, and a little contempt. Now that I have learned multiple shadow clones, I should continue to upgrade this ability. So Xiaoming began to study it with great concentration. It was not until 3 days later that the development of multiple uniformed Mind Beast Shadow Clone was initially formed. Multiple uniformed Mind Beast Shadow Clone, it combines the characteristics of Mind Beast and multiple shadow clones. It forms a brand new ability. 1. The ability of Uniform Clone. The quality of Shadow Clone is 70% of the original body, and the combat power of Shadow Clones from different original bodies is also different. The energy system of the clone is mainly chakra, with an energy network. At the same time, it gets the special ability bonus of the selected uniform. 2. The activity limit of the clone, it is limited by the energy it has. After it is exhausted, the clone disappears. You can find the original body to replenish energy in the middle. 3. The number of clones is limited, based on the source energy. The number of clones is the sum of the heights of the source energy tree, and 1 clone corresponds to each centimeter. The current number is more than 160. 4. The uniform limit of the clone, the number of uniforms of the same type cannot exceed 10 at the same time. There is no limit on the rest. Please note that the various restrictions here only apply to Xiaoming's uniformed shadow clone. If Xiaoming simply uses the ninjutsu multiple shadow clone, the number is unlimited. And Xiaoming himself can still summon various uniforms and wear them on himself. This function has not disappeared. This skill also highlights a shortcoming of Xiaoming. He has too few types of uniform mind beasts, only 13 in total. In other words, he can now make up to 130 uniform shadow clones. This also includes teachers, nurses, maids, etc., many clones that are usually useless. It seems that increasing the types of uniforms is also imperative. Other things, especially those related to combat, Xiaoming is not very good at. Anyone else is better than him. But the temptation of uniforms is definitely his strong point as a loser otaku. Now there is a legitimate excuse to develop new uniforms. Both Silver Xiaoming and Green Xiaoming handed over the work at hand to the shadow clones and insect people to handle. I plunged into the ranks of specializing in the research of new uniforms. Before this, Xiaoming was warmly invited by the ninja duo, so he walked with them. Even the usual work of hunting cockroaches was temporarily eased. The ninja duo was naturally attracted by energy weapons. These weapons are really easy to use. It is super labor saving to fight against the Black Strong. If there is this weapon, the main task 3 of the previous world will not be lost. Good things must be bought. So they took out a 3 Magatama Sharinan and 2 White Eyes. They exchanged 2 Hacker Energy submachine guns, 2 pistols, and 6 energy blocks with Xiaoming. The reason why they dragged the leader along was probably to bring logistics. The energy blocks consumed during this period should be reimbursed, right? Looking at these eyes with bloodshot, Xiaoming estimated that they should have killed 2 plot characters in Naruto, so they could get these 4 eyes. But looking at their life energy, it doesn't seem like it. Killing plot characters of the same race and digging out their eyes is definitely a big sin of betrayal. Life energy will definitely be affected. Looking at their current appearance, something must be wrong. The truth is not so dark. So that night, when they were eating skewers together again, Xiaoming pretended to be casual and asked about this matter at the table. Hyagoningguo explained the whole story with a little heaviness. The Naruto world they entered was at the stage of the Chunin exam. And it was a confrontation mission. The two sides were about 5-5. It was very unfortunate that the other party had a very powerful reincarnation. Hyagoningyu had never seen the real body of that person, and he didn't know what means the other party used. In short, many ninjas who took the exam in Konoha died in this Chunin exam. The two Sharinans came from Uchiha Sasuke, and the Byakugan came from Hyagoniji. They were their idols. You can tell from their names. The idols fell, and the two were extremely sad. In order to let the spirit of the idols continue to flourish. When the ninja duo saw the bodies of the idols, they decided to recycle them and dug out these two pairs of special eyes. They took them out of the mission world in a special way. They didn't even last until the third exam. As for how the Naruto world would develop after the protagonist died, it was none of their business. They didn't even know that Sasuke was the protagonist. Of course, they failed in the main mission 3 of that time. And just after the mission was completed, they were summoned to the world of Mars aliens by the Bull King summons issued by Siang Mo. With their abilities, they couldn't keep these 4 eyes for too long. They had to sell them within a period of time. So Xiao Ming just happened to pick up a loophole. Unfortunately, it is not an item certified by the space, and it cannot be used normally even if it is picked up. Xiao Ming can only absorb these 3 eyes. I hope to cultivate insect humans with Byakugan and Sharinan in the future. If it is certified by the reincarnation space, it may be transformed from a living body to an item. There is a great chance that it can be strengthened, but it's a pity. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 349. Time is a magical thing. Because it gave birth to countless famous sayings, countless great people sang praises for it. Xiao Ming sometimes immersed himself in this Psi. Especially in the equally magical place of the reincarnation space, time seems particularly interesting. Xiao Ming has been thinking about one thing all along: why did the Bull King's summons take effect at that time? He was on his way to the Nuwa temple at that time. It can be said that he was still in the middle of the mission. The time in the outside world should be relatively static. The summons should have happened before he entered the underworld, or after he left the underworld and entered the legend of Sword and Fairy. That would be reasonable. This is not something that can be explained by saying VIP treatment. It has little to do with Xiao Ming's VIP status. Later, he probably had a guess. After talking with the ninja duo, he felt that his guess had a 61.8% probability of being correct. The Bull King's summons did not play a role before the mission world. Instead, it was used after Siang Mo entered the alien world of Mars. This time point is just after the ninja duo completed the task. Sima Gundam's transformer should also be in this wave. Although the reincarnationists generally cannot feel the subtle difference in time, everyone thinks that the task world is a matter of a moment in the outside world. In fact, the reincarnation space is used to release reincarnationists in batches. Everyone does not enter the reincarnation world at the same time. When Xiao Ming saw the second wave of reincarnationists in Xianjian 1, he already understood. So the wave that Siang Mo entered the reincarnation world was still behind Sima Gundam's wave. Then Siang Mo used the summons in his task world and pulled Xiao Ming and others into his task. Of course, only Xiao Ming had the opportunity to discover this kind of thing. Others were probably still confused. Low-level reincarnationists would definitely not discover it. I just don't know if a reincarnationist of Zhang Shizu's level would feel it. And don't forget that Xiao Ming and his team entered the Xianjian world by using the world invitation letter after the regular and hourly reincarnation task was completed. In the meantime, they also rested in the team space for about 2 hours. This timeline is actually very vague. According to the first experience, Xiao Ming thinks that in the team space, Time should run normally and be synchronized with the Panga world. Logically speaking, only those who use the world invitation letter at the same time as Xiaoming and his team will enter the same mission world. If there are only a few people, it is understandable. It's just a coincidence. But now the number of people is too large. It's impossible that hundreds of people just happen to use the invitation letter 2 hours after the end of the regular mission. It's totally unreasonable. Moreover, the Bull King's summons can only summon the Chinese reincarnations from Pangu Star. For this, Xiaoming can only think of 3 assumptions for the time being. The first assumption, there are really many Chinese reincarnations, even at this time point, there will be a lot of people gathered. If this assumption is true, the total number of Chinese reincarnations is probably more than hundreds of millions. This is simply impossible. Of course, the world touched by the reincarnation space spans countless galaxies in the universe, and it is not surprising that the total number of reincarnations exceeds 10 billion. It's just impossible that there are so many Chinese from Pangu Star. The second hypothesis, the Bull King's summons is not just to summon the reincarnationists who are on a mission. It also summons those who are unemployed at home. This possibility is not small. The third hypothesis, the reincarnation space is playing with time again. This hypothesis is more complicated. The time that seems to be running normally in the team space is actually an illusion. The so-called team space and personal space are just another kind of reincarnation world. During the time that the reincarnationists stay in the reincarnation space, the outside world has always been relatively static. It's just that when the reincarnationists are teleported back to the original world, the reincarnation space will delay for a while. The specific delay time depends on how long the reincarnation has stayed in the team space. Xiaoming can roughly assume the operating rules of this reincarnation space, but he doesn't understand why at all. Why do you want to do something that seems meaningless? Is it just because the reincarnation space or Qianxin Tower can do such a casual playing with time? But then again, if we talk about meaning, there are many problems. What is the meaning of the existence of the reincarnation space? Why do we need to give abilities to reincarnators by completing tasks? How does the space want to arrange the reincarnators with abilities? Why not give them abilities directly and not ask them to do tasks at all? If we keep asking these questions, they will become philosophical questions. Maybe there are answers to these questions, but that is definitely not something that Zhang Xiaoming is qualified to conclude now. Xiaoming, who found that his thoughts had gone astray, shook his head vigorously and threw away all these philosophical questions. Don't think about those things. The real problem that Zhang Xiaoming should be concerned about is that the types of subdued mind beasts are seriously insufficient. Omicron equals Omega equals Rho. This is a major event that affects combat effectiveness. It must be treated with caution. In fact, it is the outbreak of the soul of Otaku. Yin Xiaoming and the 2 ninjas parted ways and returned to the underground military camp. The military operations on Mars were completely stopped, because Zhang Zhon was in the locking demon tower. The strength of the insect humans was also superior, so the military operations here could continue. The 2 Xiaomings were in seclusion at the same time, devoting themselves to the research of the uniform series. There is no year in the mountains, and the cold ends without knowing the year. When Xiaoming came out of seclusion, he didn't know how many days would pass. He scanned the map, listened to the reports of his subordinates, and talked with his real clone. Xiaoming roughly understood the situation. The 1-month mission time of the Bull King's summons had long ended. The reincarnationists had all left the mission world. It was a bit regretful and a bit relieved. Xiaoming actually wanted to meet Xi and Shui again. It would be nice to get close to a beautiful woman. Senior Zhang Shizu, Xiaoming also wants to meet and chat again. I can ask you about some things in the reincarnation space and the League of Legends. Xiaoming missed not only the reincarnationists. He also missed all the plots of the Martian aliens. At this time, The Earth's exploration of Mars had ended, and all the surviving team members had returned to Earth. At the same time, a part of the Martian cockroaches, led by several leaders, boarded the human spacecraft and marched into the Earth. After that, it will be the cockroach people and the Earthlings who will fight for the hegemony of the Earth. Mars has completely belonged to Hachiang. It actually belonged to him originally. If I say I have no regrets, that would be a lie. But Xiaoming has always been easygoing about these things. Besides, for the dream of being an otaku, it is worth missing out on anything. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 350. There is no doubt that after this retreat, Zhang Xiaoming's Uniform Beast series has made a new leap in quantity and quality. The original uniforms were summarized, classified, and strengthened. In addition, many new types of uniforms were added. At the same time, the uniform series is no longer just about mind ability and ninjutsu. Xiaoming also added energy from other systems and gave them many special abilities. The uniform series has become a skill that focuses on mind ability and covers the entire energy network. It is divided into several major branches. The first Orc Girl branch, the image and ability of the series of uniforms are mostly simulated corresponding monsters. Its style is like a tight silk garment, socks, covering the whole body, with different colors. The material simulates the space tights of the New Han Kingdom, that is, the hero suit. The uniforms also come with some characteristic parts of animals, such as ears, tails, fur, teeth, etc. The appearance of the clothes is sexy, cute. There are also a few exceptions. I won't describe the styles of these clothes in detail. Otakus and gentlemen all know it well. If you don't understand, congratulations on getting a good guy card. It is said that an orc girl who doesn't want to be a warrior is not a good mind ability. Therefore, all uniforms in the Orc Girl series have certain combat capabilities. And they are similar to some combat professions in the Magic Planet. In fact, the game is also one of Xiaoming's important references for upgrading and strengthening the uniform series. These uniforms can move freely, if worn on oneself, others, or shadow clones. It is equivalent to giving the wearer corresponding abilities. How many types of uniforms are there in the Orc Girl branch? Let's take a closer look. Alien suit, black, assassin agile combat suit with an alien appearance. This uniform is fierce and ferocious, and it takes the horror route. Among all Xiaoming's abilities, only the alien suit still maintains the classic image of the alien. Xiaohei and the insect human have developed to this day, and they are far from the alien. Probably for nostalgia, Xiaoming did not make any changes to the appearance of this uniform, but only strengthened some combat power. Catwoman suit, colorful, assassin agile combat tight silk clothes with cat-like appearance paired with dagger. Bunny woman suit, white, priest type silk clothes with rabbit-like appearance paired with magic sewing. It can replenish the durability of the uniform, which is equivalent to restoring HP. The bunny girl really doesn't look like a combat profession. In order to prevent it from becoming a uniform that eats free meals, Xiaoming gave it priest-like abilities. Dog woman suit, colorful, warrior melee silk clothes with dog-like appearance paired with spear. Fox woman suit, white, magician magic type silk clothes with fox-like appearance paired with magic charm. It can make enemies with weak wills temporarily turn sides. Snake woman suit, green, archer long-range silk clothes with snake-like appearance paired with bows and arrows, and the arrows can be coated with poison. Colorful butterfly suit, colorful, magician magic type silk clothes with butterfly appearance combined with the magic spell, hypnosis. It can make enemies with poor mental defense fall asleep. Peacock clothes, color, flying, a flying silk dress that looks like a peacock combined with peacock feathers and sword control. The peacock feathers are feathers on the surface of the uniform, but they can actually be used as flying swords. With sword control, the combat effectiveness of the peacock clothes is quite considerable. And are both flying uniforms developed to simulate flying monsters? Their flying ability is relatively average. They can only fly short distances. But it is enough. Ordinary people can wear these two uniforms and have a chance to experience the fun of flying. There are many flying monsters and insects under Xiao Ming. But Xiao Ming himself does not know flying spells. Green Xiao Ming can fly because of the special body structure of the insect king, he can even fly in space. Silver Xiao Ming can fly in the atmosphere. It depends on sword control, or the wings transformed by hot-blooded Neza flapped by Malmoer. This does not seem to be a real flight. But there will be a chance in the future. As long as he is not afraid of being embarrassed or disgusting others, Xiao Ming can wear a butterfly suit or a peacock suit to satisfy his flying addiction. I think everyone has also discovered that among these uniforms, there is a very important combat profession missing, the tank, also known as the meat shield. It is not difficult to meet the needs of this profession. Xiao Ming can just turn some animals with shells and armor into cute girls. For example, turtles, pangolins, snails, etc. But the problem is that the ability to read is a very subjective ability. Only what you like and agree with can be easily transformed and developed into the ability to read. For things that you don't like or agree with, if you force the transformation, you will get half the result with twice the effort and endless troubles. The development of the alien suit was very difficult at the beginning. Later, because Xiao Ming had been in contact with the aliens for a long time, he got used to it and even liked it. In the end, even his own body had a body, the Insect King, that was similar to the aliens, and this ability to read finally reached harmony. Xiao Ming doesn't like those turtles, pangolins, snails, etc. In Xiao Ming's mind, they should all be male monsters when they become spirits. It's awkward to force them to look like orc girls. Xiao Ming doesn't want to force himself like this. It doesn't matter if there are no meat shield orc girls in the end. If it doesn't work, you can use a uniform from other branches to act as a tank. But in that case, it will look very uncomfortable. Among a group of orc girls, one more is too dazzling. This hurdle really troubled Xiao Ming for many days, and finally it was journey to the west that gave him inspiration. Xiao Ming set his sights on the bivalves of the phylum Mollusca. Clam girl clothes, white, shield soldier a melee silk dress that looks like a clam monster paired with double shields. Clam girls are one of the many classic images in the Dragon Palace in Chinese legends. The two shells of the clam can just be used as two shields. This makes the clam girl barely able to serve as a front-line meat shield. But the clam girl is an aquatic creature, fighting on land, in principle, needs to replenish water. So Xiao Ming developed another popular uniform. Mermaid clothes, blue, auxiliary a wizard-type silk dress that looks like a mermaid paired with the magic water ball magic. In fact, it is to make clean water. The high-sounding reason is to replenish the water needed by the clam girl and the mermaid themselves. In fact, of course, Xiao Ming's personal preferences are at work. What's so difficult about getting some clean water? Is it necessary to match a special uniform? Because mermaids are definitely at the top of the list of otaku dreams. So Xiao Ming developed one anyway. In fact, its ability to produce clean water is not as useful as the ability to breathe and swim freely underwater when wearing it. The Beast Girl branch has only developed these 10 types for the time being. Xiao Ming didn't like some images like Scorpion Girl and Tiger Girl very much, so he didn't develop them.